our last two topics for quantitative analysis. And starting from next week, you're going to be with Dr. Intan for the qualitative part. Okay. So let me share the screen. Okay. Okay, so today let's look at our first topic for today, which is about regression. So let me revise a little bit of our last topic, which is about correlation analysis. So basically, correlation and regression, we have these two analyses. They have what you call that, somehow both are related with each other. Okay, so when you mention about relationship or correlation and also regression, usually for regression, it must be done based on the correlation results. Okay, so first of all, you have to analyze the correlation first. Okay, so to identify the relationship first between the variables that you want to study. So when you figure out from the analysis in the correlation analysis, so when you figure out that there is a relationship, whether it is a negative relationship or it is a positive relationship, no matter what it is, as long as there is a relationship, then you can proceed to do regression analysis. But if let's say you do the correlation analysis and somehow you identify that there is no correlation between the variables, you cannot do the regression analysis. Okay, because for correlation, you want to identify whether there is relationship. Okay, and for regression is you want to predict how the relationship will impact your data later. So let's say you want to somehow identify the relationship between study time and also academic performance. Okay, and you find out that there is a positive relationship. Okay, positive relationship between study time and also the academic performance. So in regression, what you want to identify is actually if study time increase by, let's say, 3 hours. Okay, if you study 3 hours, how about your academic performance? How many points the academic performance will increase? So that is actually what regression means. So they want to help you to predict how your data will turn out. Okay, if there is somehow manipulation of your independent variable. Okay, so that is actually the regression analysis. So that's why if you conducted correlation analysis and you find out that, oh, there is no correlation, there is no use of you doing regression. Because of course, if there's no relationship, how are you going to predict the dependent variable or the findings, right? So that's why before we conducted regression analysis, you need to conduct the correlation analysis first in order for you to identify whether there is relationship or no relationship. Okay. So like I said before, regression analysis is where we want to predict. We want to somehow produce what do you call that, equation to predict, okay, to predict the findings of your research if there is somehow an increase or decrease of the independent variables in your research. So let's look at what would we be discussing today. So what is the difference between correlation and regression? I've already explained to you just now. What is the advantages of using regression compared with correlation? Like I said before, you are able to predict your findings. Okay, if correlation, you only know yes, relationship, there is a relationship, but somehow you cannot predict, you cannot find out what will happen if this value changes, if your IV increases or your IV decreases and so on. You cannot identify that using correlation. Okay, using correlation, you will only know whether yes, relationship, or no, there is no relationship. Okay, and then how do we determine the regression line? We're going to look at that after this. How far does the regression line fit our data? how do we conduct a hypothesis testing using regression, and how do we conduct a regression analysis using SPSS. So these are all the things that we are going to look today under the regression topic. Okay. So this is what I've already explained to you. Okay, when we conduct a correlation, usually we will know the strength, whether it's weak or it's moderately strong or it's very strong. And also we are going to identify whether it's positive correlation or negative correlation. So that's what we test in correlation analysis. However, when we want to predict something, we want to predict what will happen if, some value changes and so on, we can get it through the regression, which in the regression, usually we will be able to produce an equation. Okay, an equation. So let's look at the equation later. Okay, I will show you how to write the equation later. Okay. So there are new terminologies that you need to know, okay, in regression analysis, which is regression, which is like I said before, regression is a process to predict a value of a variable based on the value of another variable. Like I said before, we are able to predict, let's say, our dependent variables value, okay, based on the changes of the independent variables value. Okay, and then linear regression is a regression where the relationship between variables are linear, meaning that we will look at the how it looks like later. Okay, what does it mean by the relationship between variables are linear? And this is already correlation coefficient square. R square is what we have found in the correlation analysis just now. So this is how you interpret the value of R square. Usually when you do the analysis for the findings of correlation analysis, usually you have to explain what is meant by the value of R square in your findings. Okay, so how to interpret, how to explain the value of R square, this is how you interpret. If let's say your R square is 0.56, meaning that you have to explain there are 56% of the variation observed in your independent variable can be explained by the variation in another variable. So y is your first variable and x is your second variable. So somehow this is how you explain your value of R square. Okay, later we will look in detail in the findings later. Okay, so as usual for any types of inferential analysis, you need to make sure that your research or your findings or your method fit this assumption, fit all the assumptions for each statistical analysis. So first one, for regression analysis, the variables must be in interval or ratio data. Okay, like as usual for parametric testing. Okay, for parametric testing, variables must be in interval.
Hello.
Kenapa Daddy? Cepat. Mami tengah rakam ni.
I dah drive 1 jam. I tak sampai-sampai lagi. I dijangka sampai Learning Insan tu pukul 10 tu sampai. Ada drive sejam tau ni.
Ikut laman sehari ke?
Tak. I pakai Trajenang. I terlepas 2 simpang.
Oh.
2 simpang I terlepas. Instead of sampai 9.40, I sampai pukul 10.
Oh.
I tak cukup tidur ni. I cuma tidur. I cuma tidur 4 jam je. I sangat mengantuk. Sekarang ni I sangat stress and very angry. Sebab I dah drive sejam je. Tak sampai-sampai lagi Learning Insight. Sebab I terlepas 2 simpang.
Most sedacity is, you can see here. You need to make sure that above above the regression line is equal to the under the regression line. So you cannot have like a lot of residual above the regression line and there is no residual under the regression line. You cannot do that. You need to have a balance, what you call that, plots above and under the regression line. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, this is an example. Somehow you can see that it is almost similar to the normality that we looked at last time lah. Okay, so this is the normal QQ plot and this is how the histogram looks like lah. Okay, wait, I need to close this. Okay, yeah. Okay, this is the histogram for each of the normal QQ plot that you can observe here. Okay. All right, so this is an example of the situation, okay, of the situation. So we want to see whether time spent on the revision have what effects or have what impact, okay, towards the marks here. Okay, so this is the example. So you can see this is the marks and this is the time spent on the revision. Okay, time spent on the revision. So you can see this is the independent variable. Okay, so this is the formula for the regression line. So you can see here what is best fit, the regression line with the smallest error of prediction. So y minus y bar that I mentioned before lah. Okay, so because all possible line must go through xy and the lines that goes through xy will have the yy of 0. Therefore, we need to square this when we calculate the relationship line, the regression line. Okay, so we can see here, okay, we can see here, wait here, okay, so here, okay, y minus y bar. So that's why you can see here that all the lines, okay, all the lines, for you to be able to draw a good or best fit regression line, you know, because we can draw as we like, right? If we don't have like a proper way or proper calculation, okay, to somehow what do you call that, to somehow draw the proper regression line, then we can draw as we like. Somehow that's why there is this requirement that the lines, okay, the lines must have y minus y bar of 0. So the value of the residual here should be 0. Okay, the value of the residual here, okay, when you minus with y bar, it should be 0. Then it will show the best regression line that you can draw for the regression. But somehow don't worry, this will you will not be calculating this manually, okay, because later you will somehow put all the value in the SPSS and you will analyze using SPSS, okay, and it will give you the value as soon as possible. What you need to understand here is the first thing that I've mentioned in the beginning of the class, which is relationship shows the strength and also the direction of the relationship. Okay, correlation or relationship. Correlation analysis will only show you the strength and the direction. Okay. However, regression will help you to predict. Okay, to predict what will happen to the value. Okay, when one of the variables changes its values. Okay. So let's look at the interpretation of R squared. Okay, I think I've already explained to you before, so I'm just going to go very fast on this. Okay, so like I said before, R squared means you know, if your R squared is, let's say, 0.7867, or maybe let's say your R squared is 0.9, let's say. Okay, so it means that you just have to change it to percent. So you have to change it to percent. You bring it like 2 decimal places like this, and it will be 78.67. Okay, if let's say your R squared is Okay, let's say here your r square is 0.8907. Okay, meaning that you will have to change it to 89.07%. Okay, so you just have to change it like that. Okay, so what does it mean by this percentage that you've just produced? It means that 78.67% of the variation observed in the marks can be explained by the variation observed in time spent on revision. Okay, so depending on this, so the percentage you must follow this what you call that, this order. Okay, so you have to explain that the percentage of the variation observed in the y-axis variables. Okay, here the y-axis is marks. Okay, and it can be explained by the variation of the x-axis variable, okay, which is time. So that's why now you mentioned here that 78.67% of the variation observed in the marks can be explained by the variation observed in time spent on revision. So that is what R square means, okay? So next, this is the formula for the least square regression, which I think you can just take note of the formula. We are not going to do the calculation for the regression. Okay, this is not in our syllabus actually. Okay, so this is the data. Okay, let's look at the data here. Okay, this is the data for the regression analysis. Okay, so I need you to, maybe you have the what do you call that, slides already. So what I want you to do is to key in the data in the SPSS. Okay, to key in the data in the SPSS. So let's open the SPSS software. Okay, hopefully my laptop won't be hang anymore. Hopefully. Okay, so let's wait for the SPSS to open. Okay, I need to shut down some of the... Okay, so we've opened the SPSS now. Okay, so as usual, what we need to do is open the variable view and put the marks and revision time. Okay, so scale and scale. Okay, so we've put the variable here and we have to put the data here. Okay, so let's look back at your what do you call it, the data here. Let's open and insert the data together. Okay, everyone, I hope that everyone is doing this too with me. Okay, okay. Okay, so let's insert the data. Okay, and revision time. Okay, so I'll give you like 2 minutes to what do you call that, to key in the data. Okay, everyone, are you ready? Are you ready with the data?
Not yet, Doctor.
Not yet, okay. So while waiting for the other friends, you can see in the slides here, okay. We will have to pick the regression later, okay, linear regression. So you have to remember that we are doing linear regression for now, okay? Okay, ready? Ready?
Okay, ready, Doctor.
Okay, ready. Okay, so let's look back at our SPSS software. Okay, as usual, okay, let's just assume that we have already tested for outliers. We have already tested the normality. So let's assume that everything is based on the assumptions lah. Okay, so after we've already eliminate all the outliers and also already test the homozygosity and also the normality, we can right away analyze the regression. Okay, regression analysis. So first thing, you need to click analyze and choose regression and choose linear here. Okay, choose linear, click on linear, and you can see here that there is marks and revision time. There's dependent, independent, selection variable, case levels, and WLS weight. So what you need to do here is you just move to the marks to the dependent variable, okay, and revision time to independent variable. Okay, so you left the selection variable, case levels, and WLS weight. Left it like just like that. Okay, no need to fill in anything lah. Okay, so you click on statistics. Okay, make sure that estimates and model fit is being ticked. Okay, and you click continue here. You can click the descriptive if you want to know the descriptive analysis. Okay, so you can click continue. Okay, let's look at the options. Option is okay. Okay, parts also. Make sure that you look at this one. Okay, you look at this one and make sure that you look at this. Make sure that this has been moved here. So Z residue ZPRED. So you move this. You move these two based on its y-axis and x-axis. Okay. So you go to the SPSS. You choose this, and you choose this and move here. Okay. All right, and then you can click continue. If you want to look at histogram, you can tick. If you want to look at the normal probability plot also, you can tick here lah, depending on what you need. Okay, so continue and you click OK. Okay, and you will get the regression results. Okay, the regression results. So here you can see there is a value of R square here, which is 0.787. Okay, this one you can see the ANOVA analysis, and then this is the what do you call that, the beta value here. This is actually the constant value that you can put in the what do you call that, equation just now. Okay, the constant value here. And here you can see the residual value here, okay, and the predicted value. You can see everything here. But what you need to do is, now let's look at the what do you call that? Okay, let's look at here. Okay, so from the from this equation, we need to know actually what is the value of B, what is the value of A. Okay, what is the value of B, what is the value of A, which you can get from your findings. Okay, Y is the expected value, the value that you will calculate later. Okay, so the constant value, okay, the constant value you can take, like I said before, you can take from the constant here, from the coefficients table, and you can see there is a value called constant here. You can take this, the B value, okay, which is 1.393. So you can insert this in the equation where the constant is lah, okay. And then another value here, okay, you can take from the, okay, you can take from the here, masa time versus the what do you call that, revision time. Okay, so you can take this value 1.643. Okay, 1.643. So later you will be able to predict your marks. Okay, your marks based on this value. Okay, based on this value. So let's say if your the value increases by, let's say, 2 times, okay, meaning that usually here the students are like what do you call that, studied 2 times the times before this. So you can insert the value in X here and you will calculate and you will get the marks predicted. Not you will get the actual marks, but you can predict. If the students study twice the time, how is the marks going to be predicted to be? But this is only predictor, okay? This is only prediction, okay? Not actual marks that they will get. So through this, what you call that, equation, you will be able to predict whether the marks will be, how much the marks are going to be if this value changes and so on lah, okay? So this is where, like I said before, where you're going to take the value to be put in your equation. So later when you are reporting the data for regression, you need to put this in the reporting, in your report. Okay, you need to put this equation in your report. Okay. So this is the PP plot regression standardized residual. This is the scatter plot. Actually, this is what we also get in this. You can see here. This is the scatter plot. Okay, that you will get based on the analysis that you've conducted lah. Okay. So this is another example. Okay, another example. Okay, you get this descriptive statistic. This is the correlation analysis. You can see that there is a positive correlation. However, it's not very strong lah. I think it's quite moderate. I think if we look at the what you call that, table, okay, table to identify whether it's weak, moderate, or strong. Okay, so there are positive correlation here. Okay, there are positive correlation between stress and also symptoms. Okay, so this is the example of the plots. Okay, the QQ plots between stress and symptoms, and this is the PP plot of regression. This is the Q plot. This is the regression plot. Okay, regression plot. Okay, so you can see this is the scatter plot for the what do you call that, standardized predicted value lah, the one that I've shown you in the SPSS just now, this one. Okay. All right, so you can get this, and this will be the regression results, okay, where you can get the model summary here. You can get the R square, where you can see the R square is quite small, which is only 19.1, okay, 19.1%, okay. And also we can see that the significant is not very, it's not significant lah. Here you can see here. So how to write the equation here is, wait, let me move it to here a little bit. Okay, so how to write the equation here is, as usual, like I said before, we can write y for the outcome. Okay, y, the outcome, equals to the constant here is 74.366 plus 0.771 x. Okay, we can put it like this. Okay, x. Okay, so this is how you write the equation. Okay, this is how you write the equation for the regression. Okay, let me write it like this. Okay, so this is the regression equation. So this is what you need to put in your report later. Okay, so later if you want to predict, you can use this equation to get the value of y. Okay, based on the changes in the value of x lah. Okay, so r square here, like I said before, how to explain the r square is you can say that only 19.1 variation from stress can somehow be explained by the variation of the symptoms. Okay, so it's quite low lah. The r square is quite low. It's only 19.1%. Okay. So like I said before, regression is only meaningful if correlation are significant. So if there is correlation, then you can do regression. But if you find that there is no correlation, the correlation is not significant at all, so you don't have to do regression. No need to do. If you do it, it's not it is useless. It's just useless if you do it. Okay, if let's say your correlation is not significant, then you no need to do. Okay, no need to do regression analysis. Okay, so if we have only one predictor, the regression line is the same as the correlation line lah. Okay, so if correlation is significant, so is the regression. So this is whatever that we have discussed before lah. Okay, so this is how to report the simple linear regression. Okay, how to report, you can write first the introduction first. Okay, what is the study about? You need to somehow explain, and then you mention that a simple regression test was carried out. It is found that the stress has a significant relationship with mental health. So R in 11 here is, like I said before, degree of freedom. 0.86, P less than 0.05. Where to get the 0.86? You can take from this. Okay, 0.86. Actually it's 0.68. I think it's they write it 0.68 actually. Okay, 68. Okay, so P is less than 0.05. Where to get P less than 0.05? Okay, you can take this. Where is it? This one. Okay, the significant is less than 0.05. Okay, so you can write there, and you can mention the regression equation is as follow. This one. Okay, so y is your dependent variable, and x is your independent variable. Okay, so you have to write what is the dependent variable, the symptom, and then the stress here. Okay, so you have to write here. So you have to explain for every 1 unit increase in the stress, the mental health symptom score increases by 2.24, which is this one, value of here. Okay, so the higher the stress, the more mental health symptoms are reported by the students. Okay, if the relationship is negative, or like I said before, there is a positive relationship and negative relationship. If the relationship is negative, supposedly this plus sign will become negative. Okay, supposedly this will become negative sign. Okay, but here we are looking at a positive correlation, so that's why the positive sign is here lah. Okay, all right. So this is all about regression. Okay, so you don't have to understand about the calculation manually, the manual calculation. What you need to understand now is about what is regression about. Okay, what is regression about, and how to come up with this regression equation that you will be able to predict the dependent variables value. Okay? Okay, everyone? Okay, so let me just revise a little bit more to make it more clear. For simple linear regression, usually you will only have one predictor. Okay, you will only have one predictor or one dependent variable. Okay, one independent variable. Okay, one independent variable. However, we have another regression analysis which we call as a multiple regression. Okay, multiple regression. Usually we have more than one predictor. Okay, one predictor, more than that. If you have one predictor or you have one independent variable, you can use the simple linear regression. When you have more than one predictor or more than one independent variable, you can use the multiple regression. So you don't have to somehow conduct one analysis for this independent variable and this dependent variable, and you have to conduct another analysis for this, another independent variable and the dependent variable. So you don't have to conduct a lot of analysis, regression analysis. Okay, you can combine everything in the multiple regression analysis. Okay, so here in the multiple regression, you have another new terminology, which is the multiple correlation coefficient, okay, which is the correlation coefficient between a dependent variable and a set of independent variable, meaning that you have more than one independent variable. Okay, so here you need to remember, you might have one independent variable and you can have 2, 3, or 4 sets of independent variable. Okay, so this is the multiple correlation coefficient. Just now we only use correlation coefficient because you have one predictor and one dependent variable. But now since you have a lot of independent variable, more than one, so you use the multiple correlation coefficient. And we also have squared correlation coefficient, okay, which is the square of a correlation coefficient between dependent variable and a set of predictors independent variable. Just now, you only have correlation coefficient R squared. Okay. Now, squared correlation coefficient, it is the square of a correlation coefficient between one dependent variable and multiple independent variable lah. Okay. However, the interpretation is the same. Okay, is the same like what you've learned in the simple linear regression, which is you change that to percentage, okay? And you can say that how many percent of this variation of the dependent variable can be explained by the variation of the independent variables, okay? So you can say that lah, okay? Okay, next, we can look another new terminology, which is the standardized regression coefficient, or we can call it as beta. Okay, this is this is in Malay. Okay, so let me translate it first. So this is the coefficient that will be found when the data of all independent variables or independent variables or predictor is standardized. Okay, so let me make it as this. Okay, so this is coefficient that will be found when data of all independent variables or predictor is standardized. Okay, and it can be used. Okay, it can be used as what you call that, anggaran tahap pengaruh is like a predictor lah. Okay, predictor of assumption. I think assumption as assumption of level of influence for each predictor factors to Y when the data is standardized. Okay, it can be used as assumptions of level of influence, okay, for each predictor factors to Y when the data is standardized. Okay, so this is what we call as correlation, standardized regression coefficient, or the beta, okay, the beta value. Okay, so what will happen if we have more than one predictor? Before this, we only know the equation for the regression is y equals to bx plus a. So that is one predictor. But if you have more than one predictor, you have to repeat the bx here a few times, okay, according to how many predictor you have. So let's say you have two predictor, you can only follow this one lah, y equals to b1x1 plus b2x2 plus a. But if let's say you have three predictor or three independent variables, you can do y equals to b1x1 plus b2x2 plus b3x3 plus a. But if you have four independent variables, you can continue y equals to b1x1 plus b2x2 plus b3x3 plus b4x4 plus a. So depending on how many independent variable you have to add b1 the bx, okay, the b and x according to how many independent variable that you have lah, okay. So like I said before, this is what you call that continuous lah. Continuous, you can just keep on adding more bx depending on how many predictor that you have lah, okay. So this is an example of a model predicting an outcome based on multiple predictors. So let's say here you have three, okay. You have three, which is b1x1, b2x2, b3x3, let's say. So you can see here that y is the value that we want to predict, okay, value that we want to predict. B is the what do you call that, the gradient, okay, the gradient, and then a is the predictor lah, the predictor that what do you call that, constant, we call it as constant lah, okay. So basically it's the same, okay, it's the same as the simple linear regression. What is different here is only how many bx you have, okay, according to the number of your independent variable. Okay, so this is an example of the multiple regression. So if you have, let's say, two independent variables, so you have two here independent variable, I will put it in red color, and mathematic test score is your dependent variable. Okay, so we name it as y for the dependent variable, and we name it as x1 and x2 for the independent variable. So you can see here it's no longer xy. It's no longer the axis is no longer x and y, because we have two what do you call that, independent variable. So that's why you can see here the graph will be a three dimension, because we have two independent variable and one dependent variable, okay. So you can see here this is how you write the what do you call that, the graphs or the gradients or the planes according to the value of this lah, because it's in three dimension, okay. Since you have one y-axis and two x-axis here. This is how it looks like lah, but you don't have to draw this, don't worry, you don't have to draw this, okay. So like I said before, it should be noted that correlation for the multiple regression is always positive. It's always positive. Okay, it's just that the type of relationship here is direct or inverse. If positive, it is direct relationship. If negative, we call it as inverse relationship. Okay, this is what we will identify based on the regression coefficient, the value, whether it's negative or positive. But we do not say that the correlation for multiple regression is negative lah. Okay, so this is the one of the example that we are going to look here. You conducted a study to examine a relationship between education in years and income with the numbers of children. So your data are as follow. So you can see here, number of children is our dependent variable. Okay, so the independent variable here we have education and salary. So we name it as x1 and x2. So this is the data. Okay, so this is the data. Okay, so first thing first, what you need to do is to insert all the value, okay, all the values in the SPSS, okay. And as usual, what you need to do is you put the dependent variable and all the independent variable. If you have 2, if you have 3, you put all the independent variable in the independent variable parts lah. Okay. And as usual, just like I mentioned just now, you click statistic and you click on estimates and model fits. Okay. And then you have to put here, as usual, like I said before, Z residual you put in Y and ZPRED you put in X. Okay, and you can click histogram and normal probability plot if you want to look at that. Okay, and you can click OK. Okay, and you can click OK, and this is the data that you will get lah. First, you will get to see the normal PP plot. This is the regression line lah. Okay, the regression line. This is the regression standardized predicted value graph, scatter plot, but this is not very important. What you need to do, what you need to see the most, okay, is the output of the SPSS, the graph here, so that you can somehow put the regression equation that you are supposed to report in your data. So as usual, like I said before, you write the regression equation like this. Y equals to, you have to find first what is the constant. Okay, the constant is 10.061. So you put the constant, and then you can see here that education, the value is negative. So that's why you can see that this is not positive. Like I said before, if the value of the B, if the value here is negative, this equation will also be negative. Okay, and you can see both of pendidikan or education and the income, both of this value is negative. So that's why you can see here both are negative. So you can take the value of B1 and B2 here. Okay, B1 and B2 under the B here. Okay, so for education, it is 0.31, 0.305. So it round up to 0.31. And next one, B2, it's negative 0.33 because they already round it up. So it becomes 0.33. So you can put it here like this. Okay. So this is how you put the equation, the regression equation, and this is the final regression equation lah. Okay, so based on the first independent variable, which is education, and the second independent variable, which is the salary. Okay, later you can somehow like put, if let's say the education increased by 1 point, or maybe salary increased by 0.65 point. Okay, so you put the value under the X and you calculate, and you will get the value of the predicted value of the number of child, right? The number of child. Okay, or the dependent variable. Okay, so this is the output of the SPSS. As usual, you need to somehow put the what do you call that, the interpretation of the data. What is the data used? What is the statistical analysis used, and why it is being used? So you need to find out, like, the test is used to determine whether there is a linear relationship between X and Y. So it is used to identify a linear relationship and then to test the slope of the regression line. Okay, so you have to answer the hypothesis, okay, that you have produced. Okay, so you have to first thing, you have to analyze first the value of the ANOVA. Okay, because you have the ANOVA here. Okay, what does it mean by the ANOVA here? So you have to interpret the ANOVA test the same as you've learned before, because last time we already learned about ANOVA, right? So you interpret the ANOVA test here, okay, here. Okay, and then you report the multiple regression. So you have to mention first what is multiple regression used in this research, and the regression equation. Okay, the regression equation also, like this one. Okay, this one, and then this is the 2 here is 2 independent variable. 22 is the number of samples. Okay, the number of samples. DF, degree of freedom. Okay, degree of freedom. And then the value here, you can see 11.88. You can see where is 11.88 here? Here. Okay, the F value here. Okay, the F value here 11.88, or they already round it up. Okay. And less than 0.01. You need to look at the significant here is less than 0.01. Okay, and then the R square 0.519. So you can see here R square is 0.519. Okay, so you explain too about each of the independent variables value, like the B value, the T value, and the P value for each of the independent variable. So you can see here, where is it? Okay, you explain what is the B value, okay? The B value, the T value, the P value, okay? For each of the independent variable lah, this one, okay? And this one. Okay, so finally, after you finish everything, you explain about the regression equation that you've already identified from the results, okay, from the findings. Okay, so this is how you report the regression analysis. Okay, so that's all for the regression analysis. So multiple regression, same. Why? I'm not going to show you because it's just the same. The only part which is different from the linear regression is that you need to add two of this independent variable. Okay, for linear regression, you only put one just now, right? One predictor. But for here, you just put two, both, or if you have three, you put three, all of your independent variables in this part. Okay, so it's the same like the simple linear regression that we've looked just now lah. Okay, so whatever you have to do here, you click analyze regression, you click linear, and you have to put, if you have like three, you put three of your independent variable here. The rest, everything is the same. Okay, so for now, do you have any question for regression analysis?
Doctor.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Initially, I'm quite lost,
Yes.
especially
Which part?
during the reporting one.
The reporting.
Yes.
For the multiple linear regression, is it?
Both.
Both. Okay. Okay. Actually, it's just the same actually if you want to see in both part lah, because if you can see here, where is it? Yeah, this one. Linear regression. Let me show you the simple linear regression. Okay, if you look at here, okay, first thing first, I've already closed the SPSS. Okay, it's okay, we can look at here. Okay, so if you look at here, you will get this, all of this table. Okay, let me change this here so it will be much clearer. Okay, so you will get both table. Okay, both table when you analyze the regression analysis, okay, using SPSS. So you will get the descriptive statistic, you will get the correlations, you will get the model summary, you will get ANOVA, and you will get coefficient. So the easiest way for you to report is, first thing, you need to report the correlation first. Okay, you need to report because there is no, what do you call that, standard way to report actually. However, you need to know that there are certain things that you need to put in your reporting. Okay, it doesn't mean that when you want to report, you need to follow exactly this template. Okay, no, but somehow you need to remember that there is certain value that you need to put in the reporting, like this one. You need to put this, the R value here. Okay, this is the important what do you call that, important information that you need to put. However you want to write, it's up to you. It's up to you. You want to write you want to what you call the structure of the sentence is up to you. However, the value that you need to put, the first one, you need to put the R value. Okay, you need to put the R value. This is the format of the reporting. This one, the green one. Okay, meaning that you need to put R in bracket, the degree of freedom equals to the value of R. Okay, the value of R. You can see here, the value of R is 0.68. Okay, that is the value of R. Okay, so where is it? Okay, here, where is it? This one? Okay, and then P is less than 0.05 or more than 0.05. Okay, and then you can somehow explain about this, you know, this one. Effects, let me put like some shadow so that you can put, yeah. Okay. Nothing happened. Okay, so this one. So this part, you need to report the equation. Okay, equation. So you can write it as, maybe I can write, so I can put it in red color. Follows symptoms. Okay, symptoms equals to 33.99 plus 2.24 stress. Okay, so you need to remember that symptoms is actually Y. Okay, and stress is actually your X or your independent variable. Okay, Y is your dependent variable and X is your dependent variable. So this is what you need to report. The second one you need to report in the findings. Okay, so 33.99, okay, I repeat again, 33.99 is from here. Okay, it's from here. 33.99 is from it. Okay, the wait, I don't know why it's not what do you call that? It's not the same, but yeah, you will get from the constant here. You will get from the constant here, and then you will get the 2.24 from here. Okay, from here. But this one, I don't know why it's not the same. So maybe we can change it. I'm not sure. We can take it as 74.366 here. Let's follow this. I'm not going to show that. I think the reporting here is a bit confusing. I think maybe that's why you are confused. So 74 point. I think the person who did these slides is not aligning the data. 74.3637. We'll take it as 74.37. And the stress is, you can take from here 0.77. Okay, 0.77. 0.77. So you can see that for every 1 unit increase in stress, the mental health symptom increases by 0.77. So that's how you do it. So this is what you need to put lah. Okay, let me show you in red color. Okay, this is what you need to put in your findings that you need to report. Okay, so only this part. Okay, this is for linear regression. So however the structure that you want to write here, it depends on you. It depends on you. It doesn't mean that you need to follow exactly this template. Okay, but somehow I advise that you explain first. Okay, when you have the what do you call that, the table. Okay, let's say you put the table. Okay, you put the table. Okay, okay, so new. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so let's say we have this. We have this. Okay, so now let's say we have this table. Okay, we have this table. Okay, this is the table. Okay, and then when you, let's say you want to report. Okay, when you want to report, first thing that I advise you to do is you put the introduction first. Okay, this study was conducted, okay, conducted to identify the what do you call that, extent. We will just use this, the extent to which, maybe you don't want to use the extent, the prediction value of what do you call that, stress, of how much stress will impact students' mental health. Something like this. So you don't have to put a total of how many students also, it's okay. As long as you explain why, what is this actually? What is this table actually? So this table is actually related to the prediction value of how much stress will impact students' mental health. So you can say a simple linear regression was conducted to conducted, and it is found that it is found that the R is quite what do you call that, significant lah, because you can see maybe the okay, if you can see here, the significant value is 1.36, and wait, let me see the regression value here. The Pearson correlation is okay. The significant is not significant actually, it's 0.06. So it's found that we'll assume that it is significant lah. It is found that what do you call that? Can we look at the data again? Okay. It is found that stress has a significant relationship with mental health. Okay. And then you can put the value that I put just now, R, DF. Okay, DF is 11. Let's say there is an 11 here. You can see here. There is a 11 here, okay, for degree of freedom, okay. 1 here is meaning that you have one independent variable, okay, one independent variable. 11 here meaning that the degree of freedom is 11. So 12 minus 1 equals to 11, meaning that the total here, the sample, all of the sample is 12 lah, okay. So R equals to 11. So this one equals to, so what is the value? So you can put the what do you call that? The value. Actually, this one is also, I think, yeah, good thing that you point it out. Okay, the F here is wrong here. F here is,
Doktor,
yeah.
sorry I macam tak nampak screen reporting tu lah sebab macam ada pop-up.
Oh,
chat
ini.
tu apa?
Oh, okay, this one. Okay. All right. Sorry. Okay. So it is we'll see it as 0.05 lah. Okay. 0.0. No, wait. Okay, 5. So thus you can put the regression equation is as follow. So you can take this regression equation. Okay, so you can just put the regression equation in the, like this. Okay, so this shows that the higher the stress, the higher the mental health symptom reported among the student. Okay, so this is how you report, just very short like this. Okay, so this is how you report the regression analysis. Okay, so you don't have to write a long, what do you call that, sentence or long paragraph. Okay, just like I said before, that the one that you have in your slide is not what do you call that, a template that you need to follow. Okay, but somehow, like I said before, the only part that you need to have is this part. Okay, this part is the only part that you need to have. Okay, but I advise you that you explain a little bit what is the analysis about, and you explain a little bit about what do you mean by the regression analysis equation. Okay, regression equation. So just this part is enough for the reporting part. Okay, whatever it is, I think later in your assignment, I think it depends because it actually it is different based on what analysis that you do, right? Because the value will be different. So if let's say you are having difficulty when you are analyzing the what do you call it, the assignments later, because in the assignments one of the thing that you need to do is regression analysis. So if you have difficulties to report later your regression analysis data, you can somehow come to me and ask. Okay, come to me and ask. I will explain to you in detail later. Okay, based on the specific things you want to do lah. Okay, so this is how you have to explain, or you need to report the what do you call that, the regression analysis. Same like your multiple regression analysis, you just have to add on the the higher the mental health system, the higher the whatever. Okay, the predictor that you have later. Okay, is it okay? Is it okay for now? Okay, so later don't worry, if you don't understand you can just ask me later based on specific data that you have lah. Okay, I think that's all for regression analysis. So regression analysis is very simple actually. You need to just point out the R value, which is for your relationship, to what you call that, to clarify that yes, there is a relationship. That's why you want to do the regression analysis. So that's why in the reporting, you need to explain about the relationship first. So once you have mentioned that yes, there is a significant relationship, thus this is the equation for the predictor. Okay, so you need to show that first. All right. Okay, anything else before we continue with the last topic? Only 21 slides, just very simple one actually for the chi-square. Before we start with the second, with the final analysis for this semester. Anything else? Okay, so if there's nothing else, we will proceed with the last analysis for this class, okay, which is the chi-square test. Okay, chi-square test. Chi-square test is for the categorical data, which is the nominal ordinal data lah. Okay, the nominal ordinal data. So it's not for ratio, it's not for interval data. So for chi-square, okay, for chi-square data, okay, you can see here, it is used with categorical data. When all you have is the frequency, okay, which is like male and female, level of education, you know, those categorical data, nominal and ordinal data, we want to measure the goodness of fit, okay, goodness of fit and the expected outcome for some variable, okay. So this is actually somehow related to the regression too. However, it's not for interval and ratio. This is for nominal and ordinal data. So this is the, what do you call that? This is the example of scenario that we want to somehow use chi-square to analyze the data. So you can see here, is there a relationship between gender, male, female, and preferred beverage? Preferred beverage here, tea and coffee. So you can see that both are grouping data, okay, categorical data. It's not like what do you call that, like score or what do you call that, motivation level and so on. No, okay, because it's just a nominal, or we call it as grouping data. Tea, coffee, male, female, Malaysian, non-Malaysian, and things like that lah. Okay, so if you have both independent and dependent variables in categorical or in grouping data, you can use chi-square lah. Okay, chi-square data. So chi-square goodness of fit test will somehow determines how well a hypothesized distribution fits and obtained distribution. Okay, so we are going to compare observed frequency with theoretically expected or predicted frequencies. Okay, so this is the hypothesis for the chi-square. You can see the example of the hypothesis, which is the observed data do fit the expected frequencies. The observed data do not fit the expected frequencies of the population. So this is how you write the hypothesis for the chi-square goodness of fit test lah. Okay. So as usual, when you see that we have any analysis, we do have to fit the assumption. So assumption 1, okay, you need to have a categorical variable. Okay, categorical variable, meaning that nominal or ordinal lah. Okay, assumption, you should have independence of assumptions as usual. Okay, meaning that male and female you can't have in the middle. Okay, you need to have a distinct difference between participants lah, between groups or between category or between groups. Okay, and then there must be at least 5 expected frequencies. So if you only have 3 samples, 4 samples, no, you cannot use that. Okay, you need to have at least 5 samples. Okay, at least 5 samples to analyze chi-square. So if you have less than 5, you cannot do chi-square. Okay, so this is another example of chi-square. So it is believed that by a university that the distribution of male and female students enrolled in the education program is equal every year. So the program coordinator is interested to determine whether the enrollment has changed from the previous year. So you can see here the distribution of male and female students is equal, the hypothesis null. And for the alternative, it says that the distribution of male and female student is different. Okay, so this is the hypothesis. So what we want to see here is the expected frequencies. We want to predict the expected frequencies here lah. Okay, we want to predict the expected frequencies. This is the formula that you need to know lah. But like as usual, like I said, you don't have to do the calculation manually. Okay, you just have to know what is the formula. Okay, so this is the formula. What you need to know is DF is K minus 1. K is the number of response category. Okay, now what you need to know is response category, you have male and female, which is 2 category. So that's why the DF is 1, because 2 minus 1 equals to 1. Okay, so critical value as usual, we are going to refer to 0.05 lah as our critical value to identify whether the hypothesis is accepted or fail to be rejected or rejected. Okay, so this is the formula. You can see how they calculate the value. Okay, so you can see O, you minus by 1, 2, 3. Minus 154, okay, and then 185 minus 154. This is the expected frequencies, okay, and you can do the calculation here whatsoever. Okay, you can do the calculation here, and then you can get the value here, the obtained value. Okay, the obtained value, and then whether it is what do you call that, lower or higher than the critical value, it will determine whether your hypothesis null or your hypothesis alternative, either one lah, is rejected or not rejected. Okay, so basically what you need to know here, this is not important since you are not going to learn this manually. Okay, so you will only look at this SPSS output. Okay, you will only look at this SPSS output. Okay, so what you need to know here is the significant value here, whether it is less or more than 0.05. Okay, so if it's less than 0.05, meaning that there is a significant difference. Okay, there is a significant difference as usual. Okay, the interpretation is the same, okay, as the other analysis. Meaning that if you find that the significant value is 0.05, below than 0.05, meaning that there is a significant differences. Okay, so this is the value of 12.481 is the value of the chi-square. Okay, the value of the chi-square. Here, 1 here is the value of the degree of freedom. You can take from the test statistics here lah. Okay, x square here is the value of the chi-square lah. Okay, we can see here chi-square, the formula, what do you call that? The symbol is x square. Okay, the symbol for the chi-square value is x square. So that's why you write here as x square bracket 1, which is the degree of freedom, equals to your chi-square value 12.481, comma p is less than 0.05. Okay, usually, but this one it shows as 0.01 also okay lah. Okay, so okay, so chi-square test of independence is used when we compare the distribution of frequencies across categories in 2 or more independent samples. So you can use 2, you can use 3, you can use 4 lah. Okay, you can use more than 2, especially 2 or more than 2. Okay, and it can also be used in single sample, whether we want to know whether 2 categorical variables are related or not. Just like what we did in this example, we want to see if there's differences between male and female enrollment. Okay, so we can somehow what you call that, see the differences between one sample here. Okay, so this is how you write your hypothesis. Okay, so this is the assumption, okay, assumption for the chi-square test of independence, whether you want to see the association or not, okay, the association or not. So as usual, ordinal or nominal must consist of 2 or more categorical and at least 5, the same, okay, the same, what do you call that, the same assumption as this one, goodness of fit test. Okay, the same one. So where is it? Okay, where is it? Okay, this one, assumption. Okay, so the same. Okay, first must be ordinal nominal. Second must consist of 2 or more categorical independent group. Okay, this is just like when you want to do the multiple regression. Okay, the goodness of fit is when you have only one categorical group. But if you have more than 1, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 and so on, you can use the chi-square test of independence. And this is the assumptions lah. Okay, the same. Just this one is different because this have 2 or more categorical groups lah. Okay, assumption 3, at least 5 expected frequencies or samples, okay, in each group, not in total group. Okay, in each group must have 5 samples. Okay, at least 5 samples. Okay, so this is example. So just now we are looking at the goodness of fit. We only have male and female, but in this case we have male and female, we have books and online. Okay, we have books and online. So we want to know whether male and female here have some association with books or online, with the learning medium. So we want to see whether there is an association, or somehow we can call it as like relationship somehow lah. Okay, but in a non-parametric way. So here what we need to do is this is the what do you call that, the calculation, the manual calculation, the formula here you can see. Okay, what we need to do here, you can see here we have to translate it into the observed value and expected value lah. Okay, observed value and expected value here. Okay, so observed value you can take from this lah, you can take from the data here. So let's see here. Okay, let's see here. You can see that how to get the expected value. Okay, how to get the expected value? You can see that this one, okay, 29, what do you call that? Is taken from 16 plus 19, 16 plus 13. So this one, 29, okay, times 40, which is the total for the group, okay, male and female, okay, divide by 80. 80 is the total number of what do you call that, this one, total number of male and female. Okay, so you can get the expected value here, 14.5, 25.5, 14.5, 25.5. Okay, so you can put as what you see in the slides now. Okay, 16 minus 14.5 square divide by 14.5. Okay, 24 minus 25.5 square divide by 25.5. Okay, and followed by the female one. Okay, 13 minus 14.5 square divide by 14.5. 27 minus 25.5 square divide by 25.5, and you will get the value. You will get the value here. Okay, you can try to do the calculation later lah. Okay, how much you will get. So you will get the value here. Okay, you will get the value here. Okay, where is my mouse? Okay, this one. Okay, you will get the value here. Okay, and also you can get the critical value from the table. Okay, table you are supposed to learn last time, but now you don't have to learn it lah. Okay, but I can show you the table later. Okay, I think I've already shown you last time the table of what you call that the analysis, where I show you the t value, everything is there, even chi-square value is there also. Okay, you can try to explore it later lah, since it's not going to be in the syllabus this time. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the SPSS output that you are supposed to know. Okay, so here in the SPSS output, you will get the gender, books, cross tabulation, and chi-square test table. Okay, so here you can see the count. Okay, the count here, this descriptive analysis somehow lah. Okay, and you can somehow look at the chi-square test to identify whether it is there is association or there is no association. So as usual, you have to look at this. You have to look at this. Okay, so if you look at here, okay, 0.48, okay, 0.48. You can see here the value 0.487 is more than 0.05. So there is no association. Okay, there is no association or somehow what do you call that, relationship between gender and preferred learning medium. So you can somehow what do you call that, say that the hypothesis failed to be rejected lah. Okay, so there is no association. Okay, you can write according to the hypothesis now. So if you use hypothesis alternative, you can say that hypothesis alternative is rejected, or depending on which hypothesis that you use lah. If you use hypothesis null, you can say that it is failed to be rejected. If you use what you call that, hypothesis alternative, you can say that hypothesis alternative is rejected. Okay, so that is how you interpret. So you don't have to look at here. Okay, you only look at the chi-square test. Okay, so the value is 0.487, and you can see that the asymptotic significant value is more than 0.05. So that's why the hypothesis null failed to be rejected. Okay, so I think this is just this is the previous one, so you don't have to do this. If you want to do this, you can also do this, but somehow there is no question about this are going to be in your quiz later. So it's up to you if you want to do the exercise. You can do it. Okay, you are welcome to do this. Okay, so you can try to do the example using this part, using this exercise. Okay, we have one data regarding teaching method and pass and fail. Okay, and also in this situation actually wanted to examine whether there is association or not between teaching method. Teaching method, you have two teaching method here, A and B, and the student outcome, whether they pass or fail. Okay, so you can try to do the exercise on your own later. Okay, to somehow you know, to somehow train yourself whether you want to use the chi-square. But usually chi-square is seldomly used lah. People don't really use chi-square, okay? Because usually when we collect the data, we tend to collect the interval and ratio data in academic setting. So somehow it's not very common lah for people to use chi-square. But there is people who use chi-square. It's just that not many people use this. Okay. So if you want to know about chi-square, more about chi-square, there is a link here that you can watch to somehow to understand better about chi-square. If let's say you are interested to study, to do your paper, your project paper using chi-square analysis, you can use this. You can use this as reference for you to, further understand about chi-square. Okay, so any question about chi-square analysis? Any question? So before, maybe I will like what do you call that? Revise in one sentence. Okay, chi-square analysis is for you to see the association between the data. Okay, association between the nominal and the ordinal data. Okay, so basically, if you want to do the association between nominal data, then you can use chi-square. If you want to see the association or relationship between interval and ratio data, you can use correlation analysis and then proceeded by the regression analysis if your correlation analysis is significant. Okay, so any question? Any question regarding this analysis? Okay, anyone? All right, so if there's no question, I just want to remind everyone about the assignment for your data collection, data analysis. Okay, so for data analysis, like I said before, I think I've mentioned did I mention the deadline last time for the data analysis assignment? Did I mention the deadline for the submission?
I think no, Doctor.
No, okay. So, do you want to submit it on the last week or you want to submit it the week after the last week? So, I'll give you two options. On the last week of the semester, or you want to take like extra time to submit it a week after the final week? Anyone?
I'm fine with a week after, but not sure about the others.
Okay. How about others? If there's no answers, I will give the final week as your deadline lah, because nobody is giving response, right? Only minority only one students want the next week. So I will assume that everyone are fine with the final week of the semester lah.
I prefer
So-
final week.
semester, Doktor.
Yes?
After a week semester.
Okay.
Prefer
So
final week as well.
you prefer final week as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
So
after that we want to have a break.
no, it's okay. The thing is, even if let's say the deadline is going to be a week after that, once you are done, you can submit anytime. It doesn't mean that you need to submit like at the exact date of submission. The final date of submission you need to submit at during that date. No, even if
like-
let's say, even
like
if let's say
that,
next week.
1 week after
We
final
need
week.
extra time.
Okay. All right. So if I can hear that some of you need extra time. So I think I will put the deadline 1 week after the final week. However, if you think that you're complete with all the assignments and you want to submit early, let's say next week you want to submit, also okay. Okay. So you can submit it. I will try my best to give you the link, because I don't know, I cannot accept, I cannot access the UKM Folio to create the link submission, but I will try my best to ask Dr. Atika to put Dr. Intan to help me if she can, or I will try to ask the administration to give me access. Okay, so I will try my best to get it done by this week or next week. So if you are done, you can, let's say you want to submit early, you can ask me. If the link is not there yet, I will ask you to submit somewhere else lah. But if let's say nobody asked me to submit, then I will try my best to have the link ready before the final week. Okay, so anything else before we stop the class, and maybe you can go back to your hometown and enjoy your Hari Raya? Anything else?
Doctor, can
Yes?
you briefly explain about the assignment?
Okay, about the assignment. Okay, wait. Assignment. Okay, this one. Okay, if you look at here, I will share the screen. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so if you look at the screen now, okay, what you need to do is you need to do analysis, the data analysis in group. Okay, like I think everyone have groups already. So this actually consists of 20 marks of the whole marks later, because you have the assignments, you have the qualitative assignments, and you have the quizzes. So this assignment only gives you 20% of the total marks lah. Okay, so what you need to do here is you are given one data set. Okay, you are given one data set. I've already sent you the SPSS file. So you have what do you call that? Several variables here. Okay, which is attitude towards the course, attitudes towards mathematics, anxiety towards the course, expectation towards achievement, and self-perception of students taking the course. So this is the variables that you have in the data set. Okay, so what you need to know here, what you need to do exactly here, okay, is first you need to describe the demographic data. So what you need to do is maybe you can take the gender, okay, gender, so you can put what is the graph that is suitable to explain about gender. Maybe you want to do the bar chart, or maybe you want to do the pie chart to explain about the gender, and you describe. Okay, this study includes the gender as the, what do you call that, demographic variable. So there are 50% male and 50% female involved in this study. So you need to describe that. Okay, and same goes to the other demographic data. So because in here you have few demographic data given to you. You have gender, ethnicity, marital status, and age. So you need to pick a correct or a suitable graph, or maybe pie chart, or maybe what do you call that, table, or depending on which way more relevant for your demographic data. So let's say if it was me, maybe for gender I will pick the pie chart. Because pie chart, maybe it will show it more clearly, like the division between male and female. So maybe for you think, oh no, I don't like pie chart. I think bar chart is much more relevant for gender. So it depends on your interpretation. Okay, so the first one, you need to explain about the demographic data. And then the second one is you have to write 5 research questions. 5 research questions, which is, first one is difference between two groups, difference between more than two groups, relationship between the variable, and the predictor, which is the regression lah, and any statistical tests that haven't been used above. So for E, you can choose anything. You can use chi-square. You can use, maybe you want to use what do you call that? Not normality testing. Okay, do not use normality testing here. Normality testing is not for analysis. It's just for the, what do you call it, assumption testing. Okay, so maybe you can use the chi-square, or maybe you can use what do you call that, maybe two-way ANOVA, or maybe you can use what do you call that? Kruskal-Wallis. Maybe you can use any test that haven't been mentioned here. So you can I'm not going to give you answer here. So you can figure out yourself what is the test to identify mean between two groups. What is the test to identify mean between more than two groups? What is the test between to study about relationship? What is the test to study about predictor? So this you need to figure out yourself. Okay, what is the test? And other than the just now, you can use in the fifth research question here. Okay, so you put the research question, okay, and 2A to 2E, you need to include the research question, the hypothesis, and the what do you call that? You have to do the analysis in the SPSS and report the findings. Okay, and report the findings. So this is the information regarding the variables that you have in the data set. So you can refer here. Okay, we have the GPA, we have the expected grade, we have the self-perception pre and post, expected pre and post. You have the gender, ID, ethnicity, marital status, age, and so on. So you have the assignment, no or yes. So you can see here that this is the categorical data. So you can use this data, this categorical data as your chi-square analysis, variables. Because you have a lot of categorical data here: assignment, mid-semester examination, online discussion, presentation, exercise, quizzes, final examination, and so on. Okay, and this one you have the interval and ratio data. Okay, and then you have the GPA of the students, and then you have the expectation of the grades here. So you can somehow be creative, okay, to pick what do you want to analyze in your analysis later. Okay, did you get the how to do this? Can you understand this? Okay, so what you need to do is actually just these two. Okay, elaborate on the demographic and write the research question, hypothesis, and the reporting of the findings based on these 5 analyses that you conducted. Okay, anyone else? Any question? Any question? Okay, so is there any question before we stop the class, before we end class? Okay, so if there's no question, I think that's all for our class for this semester. Okay, so you're going to meet with Dr. Intan after this to finish the qualitative assignment, lecture. Okay, so I think this is the last time we're going to meet for this class. Okay, and I hope that everyone, if you have any problem regarding the quantitative analysis, you can always come and meet me to get further clarification regarding the analysis. Maybe you can come individually or you can come in group, anything any way also can. Okay, so that's all I think for this class, for quantitative class. I hope that everyone can finish the assignment on time. Okay, I hope that I don't have to contact you individually to ask you to submit the assignment. Okay, hopefully that everyone can finish everything on time lah. Okay, so that's all from me. Selamat Hari Raya to all Muslims in this class, and hopefully that you will enjoy this Hari Raya Haji, okay, with your family and friends. Okay, so that's all for me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon. Okay, bye.
My God.
Salam. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay.